Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we are once again going to be talking about that upcoming major winter storm. We're actually going to be presenting our snowfall forecast at the end of this video for this one as well. Now, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you dig weather-related content. Also, make sure to share this video with your friends, family, and social media. I would also highly recommend that you check out our very exciting store in the description and the pinned comment down below, alongside our very awesome Patreon page, and that's actually where we're going to be making a post about a snowstorm that looks to occur after this one for portions of Texas, Oklahoma, also the plains. We will be making a Patreon post about that. I highly recommend you at least check it out and try it out. Anyways, for today's comment of the day, I want to know, which state do you think is going to get the most snowfall from this snowstorm? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Now let's go right through with the simulated radar, and first things first, we're taking a look at this pretty much noontime. It's going to be, well, I guess for the west coast, it's going to be more like the kind of late morning hours, maybe 10 a.m. or 9 a.m. or so here along the west coast there, and where we're going to be seeing some snowfall for California there, as well as some snow showers for Nevada, Utah, Colorado, New Mexico, and Arizona. I guess the four corner states in general. As we take this to about maybe 1 or 2 a.m. there, looking at Western time, and we can see that there is some more moderate to heavy snowfall going on for the four corner states now, and that is spreading into the Great Plains as well by this point. So that's going to be an area that sees a lot of snowfall as well with this one. What we're going to do is we're going to move on towards where this snowstorm is going to fully enter the upper Midwest and the plains, as it's going to fully develop into a very heavy snowstorm, and that's going to be by about Tuesday evening time. So here we are taking a look at about 6 p.m. here on Tuesday, December 29th, and as you can see, well, that's going to be from tomorrow from the time I'm making this video, by the way. As you can see, there is some moderate to heavy snowfall going on from Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota, even entering into Illinois and Wisconsin by this point. We do have some ice for Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa. I'm pretty concerned about that ice that's going to be occurring with this storm, so we will be taking a look at some of that as well in a little bit. Let's just move this towards about 2 a.m. or 1 a.m. here on Wednesday, December 30th, and we're going to zoom in to the portions getting most impacted by this storm by this point. We do have snowfall going on from eastern North Dakota and South Dakota, which you can see in the top left. We see most of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Iowa seeing moderate to heavy snowfall by this point, and then we see that ice and snow going on for northern Illinois, including Chicago. It's going to be a mess. And then some snow showers from Michigan, Ohio, Indiana, so that's going to be around in the area. And by the time we reach maybe about 11 a.m. or so on Wednesday, December 30th, that moves mostly towards Michigan, the lower and the upper peninsula there, where we're seeing moderate to heavy snowfall with ice to the southern regions of the lower peninsula of Michigan there, and then the northern regions there in Indiana, Ohio, seeing some ice as well. So again, that is a major concern of mine throughout this storm. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on in just a moment and take a look at the very tail end of that storm and actually the beginning of that second storm, which is going to be what we're making a Patreon post about as well. So we're going to move on, take a look at that, and then we're going to finally take a look at what the GFS has to say, our NAM model has to say, then we will take a look at the modeled snowfall guidance, and then at the very end, my official snowfall forecast for this storm. Now, what ends up happening here is we get kind of just like a normal cold front, and what happens is we get a very similar event to what we saw on Christmas Eve. I've been mentioning this for this storm for quite a while now. Some snow on the very back end of that, also some ice going on. It's going to be a mess once we reach the tail end of this storm. The low pressure center has for the most part moved out, but we still have that cold front lingering behind, and there will be precipitation along that. Here's the beginning of that potential next storm, and that's going to be for about 7 p.m. on New Year's Eve, and we're going to start to see some snowfall potentially for Texas, Oklahoma, also some ice for similar regions, and then also Missouri with a strong low pressure center of 994. I would assume we would have severe weather associated with this as well on the eastern end. This would be a nasty, nasty storm if this was to occur this way, and we're pretty close to it happening, so I think in some shape or form this will happen for the most part. Let's take it to about maybe 7 a.m. or so here on Friday, January 1st, New Year's Day. As you can see here, our low pressure center moves up into Arkansas and Missouri, and then we see heavy snowfall according to this model for Oklahoma, Kansas, and then heavy ice for regions like Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania potentially, with again severe weather likely going on by this point for Alabama, Florida, Georgia, maybe even areas further north. It's hard to say. And then eventually this moves much further north by the time we're reaching maybe about, I would say, 9 p.m. here on January 1st. We see heavy snowfall for similar regions that saw snowfall in the first storm: Illinois, Iowa, Wisconsin as well. But we do see a lot of ice going on for New England and also portions of Michigan. So a very nasty storm overall. And then actually by the time we reach about 1 or 2 p.m. here on Sunday, January 3rd, this model also has a southern slider storm for Virginia, West Virginia, and the Smokies. Why am I showing you this? Well, I'm just deciding to because it's showing it. I thought that was a little interesting addition there. What we're going to do now is we're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at what the GFS and then also our NAM model have to say. And the interesting thing about the NAM model is it is the one that nailed that massive snowstorm for the Northeast. So we're going to be paying a little bit more attention to that one this year since it did so good with that storm. So we're going to take a look at that in just a moment. So as you can see, we're a little later in the storm here, taking a look at the GFS. We're about maybe 10 or so a.m. here on Tuesday, December 29th, tomorrow from the time I'm making this video. And our storm is fully underway for the Four Corner States and then also the northern plains there. Eventually, as we reach maybe about 1 a.m. here on Wednesday, December 30th, you can see that we have moderate to heavy snowfall going on for Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan as well, portions of Iowa, but it has a lot more ice making it all the way up to Iowa. And that's a lot further north than what the European model had to say. So the GFS is just keeping that rain snow line much, much, much further north, and that just makes this all the more complicated to try to forecast. Eventually, though, as we reach maybe about 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. here on Wednesday, December 30th, that storm does move up into the Great Lakes, and we see moderate to heavy snowfall going on for those regions with ice for southern Michigan there. Now, here's our NAM 3KM model, very HD model. Let's take a look at this one because it nailed that massive snowstorm we had just a couple of weeks ago, maybe about a week ago or so. Let's take a look at, this is maybe about 11 a.m. or 12 p.m. here on Tuesday, December 29th. And as you can see, a lot of ice going on for Oklahoma, Kansas, even some sleet in those yellow shades. So that's where it's going to be kind of changing from freezing rain to snow, is right in between there. And then we see that we have heavy snowfall going on for South Dakota and Nebraska, especially there. Let's take it to about maybe about, I would say, 10 p.m. here on Tuesday, December 29th, like I said. And what's interesting here is we begin to see a very heavy corridor of snow set up here from Iowa in through Wisconsin on this model. Again, this is the same model that nailed that massive snowstorm, especially with the location and the amounts of heaviest snowfall there. And eventually that moves up in through Wisconsin and into the southern peninsula there of Michigan, even the northern peninsula as well, a little bit there, with some ice for Chicago. So let's take a look at that modeled total snowfall. And if you're anywhere in the grays, you're taking a look at about a dusting, if anything. In the blues, it's a couple of inches to perhaps about 6 inches. In the purples, you're taking a look at about 6 to 10 inches. And in those pink shades, we're taking a look at about 10 to 20 inches of snow. One thing I want you to keep in mind for my snowfall forecast coming up, those very high amounts there for the Rockies, I did not include those because it gets so small, the areas that are getting so much snowfall, that it would be just like 1 or 2 pixels on my map there. It would be so low resolution. So you're going to want to pay more attention to the modeled snowfall forecast because that's going to have the actual amounts there. I only go up to, I think, 6 to 10 there for those regions. So we can see there's pretty heavy corridors there for one there in Nebraska and then one also for Iowa through Wisconsin and through Michigan. Let's take a look at the GFS model, which is actually in really, really good agreement here. So we can see that it does keep those heavier amounts a little bit further north there because remember we had ice going much further north, but really it is keeping very heavy amounts. Finally, here is our NAM 3KM model, which actually has the most amount of snowfall out of any of them here for the upper Midwest regions, and it has about 12 to 15 inches of snow in those pinks heading in through Iowa and through portions of Wisconsin, even around 10 inches for northern Michigan there. Very, very interesting here from our NAM 3KM model, which again did a great job just a couple of weeks ago. And then finally, here's our RGEM model, which is my favorite model actually, and it keeps the amounts much, much lower for a lot of these regions. I don't think this is going to be correct though. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and we're finally going to take a look at my official snowfall forecast for this snowstorm in just a moment. Alright, now here it is, guys. Don't worry about that purple shade. I will explain that in a minute. It's just going to be sitting there. Again, at the very end, I will explain that. In the white shade, we're expecting a dusting to 3 inches of snow anywhere in those white regions. Alright, now here's that light blue region, which is our 3 to 6 inch region for this snowstorm. So that's going to extend from California through into the southern Rockies there, and then in through the plains, the upper Midwest, and eventually the Great Lakes as well. So a very, very widespread area of 3 to 6 inches of snow there. Here's our 6 to 10 inch region here, and you can see there's many of them actually. So we see one there for California, one for Utah, and one for Colorado, Wyoming, and New Mexico. That's where the western portion of this storm comes to an end, because again, it would be such small regions of 10 to 15 inches of snow, and nobody even lives on those higher elevation regions, so it would just be really hard to see in general. South Dakota, there is a small region there where we are expecting 6 to 10 inches of snow. The models are kind of just trending at a heavier area setting up there over Nebraska and South Dakota. So that's why I have that there. 6 to 10 inches of snow there for Iowa and through Wisconsin. And then even one there for the upper peninsula of Michigan, and then also the lower peninsula of Michigan in the very northern tip there. We even have a 15 to 20 inch region that sets up there over Iowa and through Wisconsin, and I think that's going to be the heaviest region. Again, our NAM 3KM model was highly on board with that very heavy region of snow, so I am on board as well. And then we have that ice threat for the purple region. That is where I'm expecting freezing rain to be possible throughout that entire purple region. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let's get right into the comment of the day. I asked you guys, what is the maximum amount of snow you expect to see with this snowstorm? And Zeta Derv said parts of the upper Midwest will likely see over 15 inches of snow from this system, and I definitely agree that we could see some regions see above 15 inches of snow. Anyway, for our Patreon highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our Platinum patrons: Sebastian Tao, John Bembenek, Justin Quantrell, James Wade, Dovi Nagel, Alan Balemo, Adam S., Larry the Pan, Donna Carnes, Cameron Marshall, and Aiden Mattis, alongside our Diamond patrons: Bill Roberts, Alan Cherry, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Michael Codalessa, Michael Buell, Terry Curtis, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Kellen Manhart, It's Jay, Cindy Klein, Alicia Davis, and Mark J. If you would like to be on this patron end screen, you can do so by joining our very exciting Patreon page in the description and the pinned comment down below. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, be sure to share it with your friends, family, and social media. I will see you guys in the next video.